Thank you so much for being here. I just returned from a CODEL with Congressman Crow to Ukraine, where we sat down with Ukrainian leaders, military leaders, intelligence leaders, and the president, and spoke of the extraordinary work that they are doing on the battlefield to protect their nation, to protect democratic values, and to seek freedom. As Chrissy mentioned, this moment is existential. It is not an exaggeration to say that this vote is absolutely one of the most important votes that we will cast in the House of Representatives. Because when we look at the reality on the ground in a world where Vladimir Putin invaded Ukraine and the Ukrainians are doing the fighting to free their own country and fight for democratic values, all they need is a bit of help. When we look at the fact that Vladimir Putin is indeed meeting with Hamas leadership, when we look at the fact that Iranian drones are flying into Ukraine and attacking or attempting to attack Israeli civilians, what stands in the way of that? U.S. aid, funding for the Iron Dome, support to our allies in the Middle East. And when so many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle speak consistently of their worries about China and confronting China, and here we have a chance to ensure that Taiwan is able to defend itself if China were ever to aggress against Taiwan, they're not taking up the bill for a vote. This is a moment where when we look at which way is the world going to orient, is it going to orient towards freedom? Is it going to orient towards the United States? Is it going to orient towards democracy? Or are we, the United States of America, like the most extraordinary nation on earth, going to walk away from what is our responsibility, to walk away from what is our own national security priorities and interests, and allow the defeat of Ukraine, allow the abandonment of our allies, and allow for our foes to rise up, allied with one another, in destruction of, and certainly against, the democratic principles that every single member of the House of Representatives should be voting to support. I have had conversations with colleagues. The reality is that the United States Senate, a bipartisan group, worked 4 months to come up with a compromise that then, at the behest of the former president, the speaker made clear that he was going to tank and bring down. And so while I appreciate, and I speak only for myself on this, while I appreciate that some of my colleagues now want to have conversations about what has been a broken system for years upon years, it's too late to start fresh. The reality is that our Ukrainian allies on the battlefield need us to pass the supplemental. Again, we need to pass it for our own national security interests. But if we are going to see the defeat of Vladimir Putin by the Ukrainian army, that support cannot wait another 4 or 5 months to then again potentially see, via social media pronouncements, the former president proclaim that he wants the House to take down such an effort. The United States Senate passed this bill with 70 votes. We have to bring this bill up. We have to do it immediately. And as Leader Jeffrey said, if we took this vote today, the vast majority of members of Congress would vote for it.